Hi, everyone. It's Brenda, and
Lynn.
how are you today? We are excited to be back, and we did skip a week. It's a funny story. Hashtag not really. I won't get into it, but let's just say that I literally thought that I had lost some vision in my remaining eye. So I was a little scared. I found out that I had accidentally put two contacts in my eye and took out one on Saturday night. I called Lynn the next morning. I'm like, Lynn, I can't see. Everything's blurry. I'm worried it was my diabetes. And it started us on a conversation of um, understanding some of the things that happen, A, when you're diabetic, or someone that has been diagnosed as having pre-diabetes. So we thought it might be a great conversation today to talk about all things that lead to the dreaded FUPA, otherwise known as muffin top. So, today we plan to chat about prediabetes and diabetes and understanding your hormones and that middle age weight gain. So, I'm going to throw it over to Lynn because she is the expert on all things diabetes, prediabetes, and now she's got some experience with her own journey and hormones. So, I'm going to throw it over to Lynn and she'll share some really great nuggets with us. Lynn?
Well, I think all of us have a little bit of a journey with our weight. Unfortunately, for 25, 30 years, we've been told that carbs are bad. Dr. Atkins kind of did us a huge disservice. And there went the cycle of, you know, dieting and exercise and having kids and then perimenopause and then menopause. But more than that, just for everybody in general, hormones being even stress hormones. So, um, in my 40s, it's not the same as when you're in your 30s for your, weight gain. In our 20s, we can do minimal amount of exercise and still maintain a healthy weight. In our 30s, our metabolism slows down. In our 40s, things just kind of start to sometimes change. And I'm not a menopause expert or hormone expert, but I've worked in diabetes education for 30 years. So, what I do know personally for me is that, those years where, we're not sleeping as much, we're working, we're raising kids, people, in our lives are passing or sick. There's all these sort of crisis modes, if you will, and our body goes through this sort of storage where your metabolism's already naturally slowing down by 1% every year past the age of 30. Then all these sort of bam, 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 everything happens. And before you know it, you're not sleeping well. Your hormones are changing. You might even experience things like achy bones, hot flashes. Sort of speaking for myself here, all of the life changes. Found out I needed a hysterectomy, and 6 years ago, they did leave one ovary, but in the last 3 years, it's like it's done nothing. So it's just slowly made less and less and less estrogen and progesterone and so on. So I did everything to try to lose weight, and that fatty upper pubic area, the fupa, was just all of a sudden one day I woke up and I said, I got a 15-pound tire. Just, it's a tire. I never had it. I was trying everything to get rid of it. I was used to having more of a flat abdominal area. And so it was sort of a relentless thing I was trying to help. But because I help people every day and say, for 8 hours a day, I tell people that have prediabetes or that have metabolic syndrome, which is also high risk for diabetes, and diabetes. There's millions of people that have diabetes and prediabetes and PCOS and all of these things, hormonal changes, stressors that cause abdominal weight gain. So let's first, I guess, talk about why our body holds it there. So the hormone cortisol is when we have stress, and when your body's going through, a lack of sleep, or, when your body's supposed to be getting rest and not having cortisol and adrenaline and acetylcholine, all these hormones in the middle of the night sort of acting up. If you happen to work night shift, if you happen to just not be a good sleeper, you have chronic insomnia, you're going to wake up and your body has not had a full sort of rest mode. And so your body starts to sort of gain in the middle of because of cortisol. Your body thinks you need some storage, so you're not as much of a burning engine. You become more of a storing engine. So if you have this sort of weight gain, your body thinks that your insulin starts to be blocked. Your body thinks that you're not getting food into the cell because you could be have some of your food to be legitimately staying in your bloodstream. So pre-diabetes, you start to lead to things like diabetes where your food's just all staying in the bloodstream. So your insulin is supposed to act like a key and put your food in the cell to give you energy. But when it stops doing that, your food is staying in your bloodstream. You have high blood sugar.
So if
So
I understand, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, and I know
no.
that because we're besties, we do this to each other all the time. We will have a thought and we're like, okay, I just have to ask one thing. So what that does, if I'm understanding, is that because that insulin is the key and it's not allowing the actual nutrition from the food to get at the cellular level, the person feels hungrier because they're actually not getting nutrition. So it's such a vicious circle.
Right. So
They're
then you're
going
eating
to
more.
continue to eat more. And I know for myself, someone with diabetes, I was constantly hungry. And I'm an emotional eater. That's just how I am. And guess what? I'm in a very high stress job as a live events producer. It's not an 8 to 5 with 2 paid 15s and an hour lunch and 5 weeks vacation. It's not that world. It's very robust and moving. So I was in a high stress situation every day
Mhm.
around events. So I'm going to say start Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you tear down Sunday, Monday, you do reports. It was very cyclical. And I'm not getting enough sleep when we're doing 14-hour days. And then you just crash into bed and you're exhausted. I'm an emotional eater. So I'm eating and just constantly felt hungry. And as someone with diabetes, I craved sugar. So I would crave things that weren't good for me. So, but really, truly, what you're saying is that the bottom line is if we don't deal with the insulin, and those of us that have insulin
The
resistance,
resistance, yes. What's blocking your insulin?
we need to open the key to the cells so the nutrition gets in so that your body can function at a high performing level. And so that's
You
why,
can rev up your metabolism. Yeah.
okay, so I was in this trifecta of madness. The
And
no
you would
sleep, high
constantly
stress.
reach out to me and say, "Oh yeah, I'm so tired. Oh, my brain's tired. Oh, I'm fatigued. Oh, I'm exhausted." Like there was never a time where Brenda, energetic bunny, going from event to event to event was not like woohoo. Like I'm so like
No,
energetic.
I'm like that at the event because I
Right.
have to be on for my clients, my boss, whatever. I'm always on. You're always
Hmm.
smiling. Nobody knows that your hair is on fire. You're going backwards down a unicycle, juggling fireballs, blindfolded. Like nobody knows. But when you get home at the end of the night and you are so completely depleted of any form of energy or cognitive function, it takes a while. And I find as I get older, that recovery process is way longer. So I do remember you teaching me all the time over the years, but it took me a really, really long time to figure out, okay, but how does Brenda get there? How do I deal with that insulin resistance when I'm constantly hungry? How do I turn that energy and maybe also find balance, right? And I love
So
to
I
run and I love to be outside in nature. And so that was, even though I was expending, is that the right word?
yeah.
Calories and energy, it brought down my stress level because I was out in nature, I was walking the dog or whatever. So you really truly have to find all those different things in your toolbox of how do you manage the stressors and but still be aware of how does my body use the food properly, what that I'm putting into my mouth, how am I metabolizing it, is that the right word, metabolizing it best, because I wasn't eating enough carbs. And you would be
So
saying to me, Brenda,
diabetes,
eat carbs, eat carbs, eat carbs. I'm like, I'm scared of carbs. I don't want to gain weight. I
we're
don't
all,
understand.
yes, we were all scared of carbs because, again, we've been kind of trained and conditioned that diet culture for the last 30 years is like eat low carb, eat no carb, and then all of a sudden everyone's eating too much fat and protein. Again, I think it's balanced nutrition and, having all your nutrients. But more than that, I mean, like you just said, we have to balance our hormones first and foremost, or nothing's going to help us. We have to have the right diet, we have to have the right exercise, and we have to have the right amount of like stress, so to speak. There's those that triangle is how we balance our diabetes, so, or our sugars. So the main thing is there's something blocking, and that something that's blocking your cells happens when people start to gain weight. It's mostly middle abdominal weight gain, so it's more the apple shape versus the pear shape. It's lack of exercise, or like not able to move as much. Family history of diabetes, poor sleep, sedentary lifestyle. It can be from just, again, family history is a big one, but for some people, and in your case, you're running around, and eating on the go, and almost like everyone in our 40s, not sleeping very well, and not putting yourself first. But our kids came first, and our careers came first, and sort of like putting ourselves last. So, moving into this next era of our life, we've sort of decided, okay, like we need to put ourselves first, and we have way more tools in our toolbox. So when we started years ago, when I started teaching diabetes, I mean, we had 3 meds, and now we have like 15 classes of drugs. There's so many more tools to work with. But we know much more about diabetes also. Like there's inflammation, stressors, lots of things blocking, but not a way to just unblock the cells just magically. So, a lot of people have to start with metformin, but 1 in 4 can't tolerate it. So, GLP-1s are more readily available, not in Canada just necessarily yet, but it's going to be. And we know from 2007 to now that they've improved drastically. It's a receptor agonist, so it works on the lower intestine, the receptors of our GLP-1, to make our GLP-1 work better and longer. Whereas there's lots of natural things that can help boost your GLP-1, but it doesn't last for a whole week. It lasts for, a little while. And so again, you have to watch, those things that can help you on the market are more temporary. Whereas, something that like a GLP-1, that like an injectable GLP-1, like the tirzepatide and the semaglutide, those actually work as a receptor agonist to help our body utilize our own GLP-1 for much, much longer. So that's why injectable works better than, say, a pill. So all of that to say, it brings down your inflammation. So it's opening up the cells. They help slow down your food in your stomach, so the food's not shooting up after. So your A1Cs come down. It helps your insulin work better. It's helping the hypothalamus in the brain to stop thinking about food all day and stop thinking about cravings and stop. And because your food's in your stomach longer, you feel full longer. We're seeing that it's good now for the brain. In fact, it's going to be probably indicated for Alzheimer's disease. It's 30% less, like more cognitive function for longer. There's so many indications for it now that, like I said, I sort of hit a wall. And when you kind of tried everything under the sun and hit a wall, and we've both seen success with GLP-1s, but again, we're seeing them across the board for many other indications. So, but just in general, diabetes, pre-diabetes, metabolic syndrome, which is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, middle abdominal weight gain, or high triglycerides, 3 of the 4, that's like 80% of most everyone in North America. So, again, to get rid of those, there's certain things we can modify, and there's certain things that are just much harder to do on your own. So, we've utilized GLP-1s, but again, if you don't have access to it, there's a lot of other things you can do. So, but it just, as we get older, it's much harder. So I think it's really important to have your hormones balanced. And if you use a GLP-1, that synergistic effect of both of them together is how, our bodies are going to keep the weight off, and it's going to keep us motivated to keep going. And, the protein, adding resistance training, all those things are really, really important.
Well, can I share my milestone for this week?
Sure.
I'm very, very excited because, my journey has been 38 years long. And I am a physical education graduate from 89-90, class of 89-90. And in my first year phys ed, so we're talking 1987. I went in 86, but in the spring of 87, I got sick and I was put in the hospital. And they put me on a medicine where I gained 80 pounds in 6 months. So I went into the hospital 110 pounds and I came out not 110 pounds. And I didn't recognize myself. It was really it messed up my mind, to be honest, because I was like, I don't recognize myself. I'm in the fittest faculty of all. I feel like I'm a lean athlete. And then my journey started, and my journey quite literally has been almost 4 decades. So I used to joke around with my girlfriends because I would try everything. I wanted to be that healthy role model for our kids. And I tried literally every diet under the sun. And when I say that, that's not a joke. Like, I've
You
spent
have.
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on the Nutrisystems, the Weight Watchers, the drops, the coffees, the shakes, that you name it. I tried it, and I tried it with gusto, and I lost the weight, and then it would always gain back. I tried the intermittent fasting. I tried the cool pools. I tried absolutely everything that came across my plate, my inbox, my phone, my TikTok, whatever. I tried it. And it was super, super hard. And there I had my mother, a retired head nurse. There's a doctor in the family. There's a pharmacist in the family. My best friend is a diabetes educator. I had a kinesiology degree. I've had all of the tools around me, but it wasn't until I put all those learnings together and I just kept trying. So I'm really happy to say that at 56 years of age, a month or 6 weeks before I'm going to become a grandparent, that I finally feel that I am the strongest I ever have been as an adult, because I used to joke around that, I'm still carrying the baby weight. Well, the baby's 22, turning 23 next week, and it was so overwhelming to me that I kept trying and trying, trying. But I think that's my personality. I'm super stubborn. Maybe persistence is a better word, but I just have to thank you publicly for your patience with me, Lynn, in how many times
10
have
years.
we had this 10 years since I've been diagnosed as a
Right.
diabetic or someone with diabetes,
Right.
but 25 years we've had this conversation.
Yes.
And it feels really good to be in a size medium and not a double XL. It feels really good and it's not about the size and it's not about the number on the scale. It's about feeling strong and healthy. And do I still carry a lot of adipose tissue? Oh, heck yeah. Oh, I sure do. I'm still fighting that FUPA. Let me tell you, it's still there. However, do I feel that I'm closer to getting my A1C and getting my diabetes in order? I do, because my numbers have come down. I'm winning that battle of the high sugars. And that's all I care about. I don't want the loss of my fingers. I don't want to lose a limb. I don't want my one eye to get worse and to have, because we are predisposed to, if there's excess sugars, you could have eye problems, which could lead to blindness. I had a blind diabetic dog. I've been down this road. I know the story. I don't want that. I want to be able to see my grandbabies and to enjoy and to play and to have that functional strength where I can be a healthy grandma. So I didn't get the chance to be, I'm not going to say that. I think I was still a good role model for my kids as an active mom, because I tried every sport under the sun. I was always active, but I was never that healthy weight or that healthy. I didn't present as healthy. I presented as, I called it, I heard this term once, fat fit. In my own category. I can run like forever. I'm strong. I can play the football and the rugby, and I can do all these hardcore activities, but I also carried 50 to 60, perhaps 70, 80 extra pounds on my 4'10" frame, which just isn't healthy. So thank
And
you,
you've got to feel
Lynn.
so much better. Just your joints, your back. I mean,
Oh,
your health in
absolutely
general.
everything.
You've just probably even taken 10 years, added 10 years to your life, to be honest. So healthy is where it's at. Like we're not doing and teaching and showing people all of this on podcasts to, show you how to just get leaner. It's about being healthier first and foremost. So
Healthy. Yeah.
yeah.
But really to find that balance. I lived a
Yes.
very, very unbalanced life. I started a business. I had a toddler in a car seat. I was running around. I had 63 students I was training. I was doing high level events. It was a really, really high stress job. And I'm not saying it's more stressful than a firefighter or a police officer or any of those other really, really, a pilot, those high stress jobs. And, but it wasn't easy to manage my diabetes when I wasn't exercising regularly, definitely wasn't getting any sleep, was grabbing a meal on the go as I ran past the concert's green room. Okay, so and so is supposed to be in there. Oh, yeah, I'm just grabbing stuff off the plate and
But
throwing it
how
in my
much
mouth.
more confidence do we have in ourselves when we can carry ourselves with a lighter feeling of like not having joint pain and not feeling like your back is sore and feeling like, more like yourself? Like that's what I experienced, have experienced in the last several months in my journey, is just feeling more like myself again, where yeah, there's more confidence. Like I wore a pair of jeans I haven't worn in 10 years. I mean, not that I should have kept them that long, but
Oh, trust me, I've got outfits in my closet that literally range. I've got stuff from size 6 to 24. And then I start giving them away and giving them away and giving them away. And now I have a whole new wardrobe, but now some of it is quite dated. So I'm ordering clothes or I'm buying clothes, and it feels really great to actually walk into a store and buy something off the rack. I've never experienced that in my life. As someone who is 4'10", with a little bit of a, we're going to say, the bosom area larger, the butt area larger, my waist wide, larger, at 4'10", I'm already got to fix the hem on the leg. Nothing fits in the arms. I wouldn't wear any shirts where it might have buttons because it would pop. I would loved vests because I could cover up. And it became this whole thing. And you know what my
yeah, where
biggest
people
regret
are
is?
wearing flowy clothes and you're trying to
Yeah,
cover everything up, and so yeah, it just to be able to dress like you want to dress and feel confident. It's really, I think it's really a good thing to have as far as like, for your mental health, just feeling more at peace with, yourself and feeling healthy. I mean, like again, um, as we've been sitting here, all of a sudden I experienced a hot flash and I thought, whoo, I just got to get that fan over here. I got to get that fan over here. It's gone now. But um, doing this hormone replacement therapy and like, again, having the GLP-1 and putting it all together where I'm just going to start to feel more like my old self. And that's the whole thing, is we just want to feel healthy and we want to feel confident. And I
vibrant.
think yes, vibrant. I think every woman, if we didn't call this Fight the Fupa, we could call it Vibrant Life, like.
Yeah.
So
But
again,
even
I
if
think,
it's male or female, there's a
yes,
lot of guys walking around with those, whether it's they call it the beer belly or the man or dad bod, or we in females we like to call it the muffin top. But there's a lot of, especially when you just travel and you look around, there's a lot of people like, obesity is an epidemic. There's no question. And as someone who
100%.
struggled, as someone who struggled with obesity, or as an obese person having my um body mass index like way off the charts and so unhealthy, um my biggest regret is that there's not a lot of family photos. There's not a lot of pictures. I'm always behind the camera. Why? Because I didn't feel like myself. So why would I want to capture this moment in time? And then, I have some girlfriends that have really inspired me to just, love yourself where you're at, and to just love yourself. It's the body that you have. It was the body that you were given, and just wherever you are at, love it. And they inspired me so much that it allowed me to feel more confident about where I'm at. And yeah, is there cellulite on the legs? Yep. Is there the dimple on my bum? Absolutely. But you know what? I'm not going to feel shame for my body when I've worked so hard to get healthy, and I'm just going to love my body where I'm at. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But am I 18? No. I'm 56. So yeah, I'm really in a different headspace, and it's a much healthier one. And we all posed for a photo on the beach in Florida. When I posted it, I'm like, did I actually post that? I don't have one other picture of me in a bathing suit except for one in 1986 that my dad took of me before I started university. So I was 100 and maybe 9 pounds, and I had the Joan Jett haircut, and it was the 80s. And my dad, we were joking around because the motorhome, we were traveling across Canada, and the motorhome broke down. And so I just put on my bikini and I was suntanning on the top of the motorhome. He joked around. He's like, "Hey, you want to come down here in that bikini and pose, and maybe someone will stop because I've been waving at all these people and nobody's stopping." He was purely joking, but I came down and struck a pose as a joke. And it's the only picture I have of myself in a bathing suit since last month when we were in Florida together. And
And I took a whole bunch of you.
yeah, and I was, yeah, that was kind of, but you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to love myself where I'm at. And I think if there's anything that we can all take away from is we're all on that journey. We're going to have the
So
hiccups. We're
body
going to have,
positivity. There's a lot about out there about
yes,
body positive. But wherever you're at now, and for anyone listening, sometimes, and I felt like this, that people feel like their body is betraying them, and that's how I felt the last 3 years. I was trying everything. I was going to the gym 5 days a week. I was eating healthy. Now I'm eating more protein. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing everything. But it's actually now, showing result because my hormones are getting level, and and using the GLP-1s. Some people inject, fillers, Botox, lip fillers, all these. I've never touched anything other than, something that I feel like has helped me get much, much healthier, taking down my inflammation, um, taking away a lot of my side effects of just having, the moods. And I actually would have rashes. I even had like back pain and hip pain and joint pain. So I just feel like a lot healthier. And that's the whole thing is if you're investing in an injectable that can help you get healthier, that would be like the one I would choose over anything else.
yeah. And I just, I know that
Not that I have
it's,
anything against any of those other things, because I'll probably do it at
no,
some point.
absolutely not.
Whatever you
Hey,
need.
listen, I'm all about body positivity, but I'm going to tell you, there's one thing that I will absolutely not do, and that is let my hair go gray. I will have black hair like my mother until I'm in my 80s. Me and Clairol will be besties because I watch all these ladies letting their hair naturally go gray. I'm like, oh, I love that for you. But after my trauma from the eye injury and the eye loss, I lost so much hair. And I'm seriously, there's so much hair loss right now, but I camouflage it every day. And if my hair was gray, I just don't know how I could camouflage it because I've learned how to perfect the black. And that's where it's at. So I can assure you the day that I get buried, and hopefully it's in 30 years from now, but the day that I get buried, my friends, I will have jet black hair and maybe blue streaks,
And
who
I'll
knows.
put some fiber in for you. I'll like, don't forget the fiber spray.
Yeah. you know those uh those commercials back in the day where you used to see the person spraying their hair, spraying their balls? That is me. I've got four products now. I just found another new one that I love. So, we'll divest a little bit away from fupa. I'm going to tell you, anything that you can do to make you feel your best, whether that is a collagen, a bone broth, a yogurt, an injectable, a lip filler, whatever it is that makes you feel your best, just do it. Just
If
do
you
it.
want to plunge in cold water, even go for it.
I have.
You're
I
not going to
have.
find me doing that. I won't even jump in my pool, and I'm in Florida. So if you want to do the cold plunge, be my guest. It's great for inflammation.
I have tried the cool pool. I'm not going to say it's probably as cold as it was supposed to be, but I do every now and then do it. But I just I'm just excited by the feedback that we get and the inboxes that we get from this little sharing story time. You know, that there are so many people out there that are curious, that are wanting help, but they don't know the next steps. And I hope that weekly we're able to share a couple of tips or just something that someone may not have thought about, and something that is a nugget and that's tangible that they can take away and try to implement into their week. And maybe it's, you know, that challenge to walk a few more steps, or oh, pick up some weights and do a couple of curls. And that's what Lynn and I have challenged each other with, because I'm addicted to these pacer challenges. I've done so many back to back to back to back to back. I find, because I'm a competitive person, I'm competitive with myself, and I just like setting a goal and reaching it. And if I'm behind on that goal, darn rights, I'm going to keep going. There was one day I was 30 kilometers away from my goal, and I had a full work day, and I had a Jets game that evening. I'm going to tell you, I got my 30 kilometers in because I wanted that certificate. I wanted to wear my medal because I said I was going to finish it by a certain day, and I wanted to hit it, and I had till midnight to hit it, and I hit it. So if you put your mind to it, you can adjust, or you can push yourself, you can nudge yourself in the right direction to make those small little changes. And I've had to set a timer to remember to drink more water in a day. I
Yeah,
swear I
I
get
think
half my steps by going to the
water,
bathroom.
more water, you're walking, and our winning attitude, the three W's, water, walking, winning, that really is, again, for health and for just overall wellness. And I would say protein is another thing we should all prioritize. So for this week, if you start to just even ask your phone, how many grams of protein in 4 ounces of chicken, just try to get a little more protein throughout the day that keeps you feeling full and satisfied. Along with, maybe, like you said, maybe you want to walk more steps, maybe you want to do some weight resistance training. So those are sort of the things I'm prioritizing: is more protein throughout the day, more water, more walking, and a winning attitude, or decompressing and unwinding. So those are all sort of little nuggets for the week. But hopefully this is, these little things help make a big difference when you start to really put them all together.
Yeah. Thanks, Lynn. I love our chats because even though even though you've brainwashed me for a decade, I still need I still need the reminder. So as you remind everybody else, I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. So because it's not just a one and done, right? You don't just hear it once and implement it. Or maybe it's just
Most
me
people
that's
no,
a
most
slow
people need to
learner.
hear it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah, that's why you can never retire because your patients need to hear it over and over and over too.
correct. Yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of work for diabetes educators, that's for sure. So I'll be working a while. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, everybody have a wonderful week. And like I
Yes.
said, let's walk away with those three W's: more water, more walking, and a winning attitude.
And that equals fight the
Fupa!
FUPA. Have a great
Bye.
week, all. Bye.